Thank you at home for joining me. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com. A lot of things to get into, a lot of stories to unpack. And, as the summer approaches, of course, mayors are doing what they can to bring down violence. And this first story, Baltimore's summer youth curfew takes effect tonight. Mayor Brandon Scott has been talking about this curfew. He's I guess he's excited about it because it's a citywide curfew that's going to last through Labor Day, and of course, many major cities across the country, across the U.S., have been trying to find ways to combat the spike in violence, and it really goes up during the summertime. And we're going to talk about some other cities and what they're doing a little bit later. Officials here in Baltimore said that the goals are to keep kids safe and, of course, cut down on crime. Now, city residents received a text message and phone calls Friday morning reminding them of the curfew. I'm going to see if I can pull this message up. So we got this message, and I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. Can they see this? All right, so let me show you my phone here. And so we got this message here. You see that, all right? We got this message, and this, went out to residents of Baltimore. So we get this message, and the text read, "Reminder: curfew ordinance is in effect from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. all summer." It also included a link to Be More Summer Information Hub, and it had a list of events and activities for youth. This curfew impacts teenagers 14, 15, and 16 on weekends and holidays from 11 p.m., as I said, to 6 a.m. For those who are 13 and younger, the curfew starts at 9. There are exceptions, of course, including children that's with a parent or guardian, youths that are traveling to or from a job or a city-sponsored event. So how are they going to enforce this? How are they going to make this come together now? Non-law enforcement city staff are focusing on the Inner Harbor, Fells Point, Federal Hill area, all places that the city covets, all places that the city loves. And if youth are seen out past curfew, they will be encouraged to go home. So there's no real enforcement, but there's this understanding, and hopefully folks are encouraged. And I do have the option to go to a late night center, either at C.C. Jackson Recreation Center, which is in Park Heights, or the Rida R. Church Community Center, which is on St. Lo Drive. Now, at these centers, young people will be supervised by staff. There will be areas for youth to play, eat, or sleep while they await pickup. So this is a plan of Mayor Brandon Scott. Now, under the mayor's plan, police officers will focus on groups of 10 or more young people, and identification will not be demanded. There will be no pat-downs unless safety is an issue. And officers will not engage until a youth connection worker is at the scene. Police are being instructed to verbally command the group to disperse. So they've thought of, I guess, everything that I don't know, was brought to folks' attention. Things that could go wrong with regards to this curfew. Definitely. So their hearts are in the right places, right? The city obviously wants things to go well. The city obviously wants things to go well. And hopefully everything will go well and won't be any issues, won't be any problems. But many folks that I've talked to are very skeptical about the success rate of this curfew. I definitely think that there should be a curfew. It should always be a curfew. I talk about it all the time. Back when I was a kid, they had the thing that would come on right before the news. It would say it's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? And that was kind of like a benchmark. That was like a benchmark that my parents used. And sometimes that would come on and it was time to go to bed and different things like that. And we're far removed from tools like that. But I'm encouraged by this move that City of Baltimore and Brandon Scott is trying to undertake. The Baltimore Summer Youth Curfew goes into effect this weekend. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show, ONFIRE-TV.com, ONFIRE-TV.com. So 3 14-year-olds arrested after carjacking and armed robbery. These are some of the reasons that they need the curfew, right? So on the same day that a nighttime curfew for kids takes effect, we have a story like this. Now, in Baltimore, city police say that three of these kids were out committing crimes very early Friday morning. Police said that just before 6 a.m., 3 young people, including one with a gun, carjacked a rideshare driver on East Biddle Street downtown. A 32-year-old male victim said that the suspect took his money and his keys and then drove off in his car. Just minutes later, police were called to report an armed robbery at a 7-Eleven. This one is on the 3600 block of Falls Road. So you have, and they're trying to keep, kids in order. Of course, mothers will say, "Not my baby." Yes, your baby. Police said that 3 males entered the 7-Eleven, one armed with a handgun, and announced a robbery. After grabbing money from the clerk, the suspects exited the store, fleeing the location in a vehicle. Investigators were able to track the vehicle, which was later found to be the same vehicle that, of course, was taken from the armed carjacking earlier on Friday. That was on Biddle Street. So it is a 200 block of East Biddle. So the vehicle and the suspects were located at a home on the 1700 block of Appleton Street. So these criminals, not that smart, officers recovered the vehicle and arrested the 3 suspects at the location. The suspects who were arrested were 14 years old. Now, before we even get started on it, it's not like the curfew could have prevented this from happening, but it just points to what we're facing, points to what we're dealing with now. Just because these youth were out doing this, trying to have the curfew, trying to find things for them to do. Some people need tougher. Some people need tougher actions, and there are consequences and repercussions that have to happen. Some people get it. Some people don't. But I definitely commend, like I said, the curfew. It's a start. But this starts out, where were these kids' parents? Who's responsible for these kids? Why are these kids allowed to just roam free? 14 years old. 14 years old. Welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on fire-tv.com, on fire-tv.com. 4 were shot overnight in 2 separate locations in Northeast Baltimore. Police are investigating a quadruple shooting in the city. So the police said that they were called just before 11 p.m. on Thursday to the 3300 block of Ramona Avenue, where they found 2 women and a man suffering from gunshot wounds. I mean, the summer has not even started yet, and we are in full swing. So they canvassed the area, the police did. Police said that officers found another man suffering from a gunshot wound on nearby Shannon Drive. All 4 victims were in their 20s. They were taken to the hospital, and thankfully, all are expected to survive. Anyone with information is asked to call Metro Crime Stoppers 1-866-7-LOCK-UP, 866-7-LOCK-UP.
Looking for food that feeds your soul? Hoodfellas Bistro and Catering is your local African-American-owned restaurant offering American cuisine. Located across from the courthouse, we offer daily jury specials to reward civic duty. Enjoy our full-service restaurant and fully stocked bar. Dine in, pick up, delivery, and catering. Our themed happy hours feature live music, handcrafted drinks, and weekly specials. Book your private event at hoodfellowsbistrocatering.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. You man Diamond K in here, of course. You need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk at gmail.com, djdiamondk at gmail.com. So in previous stories, we're talking about Baltimore and some of the things that the officials here, mainly the Mayor Brandon Scott, are trying to do to make the city safer, try to employ some strategies to prevent this summer surge, try to have opportunities and activities for kids to do to keep them potentially out of trouble. And of course, as we are entering this warm season, as the summer is upon us, many U.S. cities are actually reporting fewer killings. And they also hope that some of these crime strategies that city officials are undertaking will hopefully prevent a summer surge. So that is the goal. The goal, of course, is a safer city, wherever your city is. Now, this expected bump in violent crime this summer comes every year. So you got the mayors, you got police officials around the U.S. rolling out strategies. These are not foreign strategies. These are very familiar strategies of making officers more visible, engaging with community groups, in some cases, leaning on civilians to enforce the curfews and help keep the peace. This is some of the things that are happening here in Baltimore. We're talking about the curfew that goes into effect Memorial Day weekend. Chicago is among the U.S. cities that are trying some of these strategies, but Chicago specifically is under scrutiny following a mayoral race that focused on public safety. So in response to demands for change, the previous mayor did not do the best that she could do in reducing crime and a host of things. But violence often surges during the summer months. It's hot. People are outside more. There are just more opportunities. So this holiday weekend, will undoubtedly wrap up and the changeover from spring to summer, and it's really going to put more pressure on Mayor Brandon Johnson's new administration to deliver some type of improvement, even if it's a short-term one, along with some kind of long-term strategies that the former union organizer advocated for while campaigning to lead this country's third largest city. You knew that, right? Chicago is the country's third largest city. Now, of course, the mayor is talking about building a coalition. Of course, he says it's going to take everybody, not just the police, not just city government, to ensure that communities can live and thrive in peace and safety. So we're definitely going to be watching. Now, most U.S. cities are reporting fewer homicides. This year is of course is by not at any means perfect, but according to data collected by the Council on Criminal Justice, which created a crime threads working group, this was done in hopes of providing more real-time information on crime. There is a tentative reprieve following spikes that began back in 2020 and began to come down last year. And at this point, it is even better. But there's still a lot of work to do. The totals remain far higher than pre-pandemic reports. But they're definitely cause for serious concern, but it's not for panic. All right. And so some cities that are seeing success, they're generally investing in a balanced approach that includes policing, but also supports community-based approaches. So there is that balance. You have to recognize there is a need for law enforcement, but we also have to emphasize the prevention and intervention in the community. This is very important. Officials in Cleveland, Newark, Philly have announced summer plans that make officers more visible in the communities. The areas that violent crimes have been happening, they're going to have a larger police presence there. They're also trying to promote these community efforts to prevent violence, to provide alternative activities. Try to give, and you constantly hear folks say, "Oh, well, the recreation centers, and why the recs are closed? There's nothing for the kids to do." And so the theory here, the strategy is providing activities and positive recreation to keep kids busy. You know what they say, the idle mind is the devil's playground, right? So the thought process is giving kids activities, giving these young people things to do, and hopefully they will go a alternative path. Now in Baltimore, not police officers, but city officials will enforce the curfews essentially on teenagers, which starts Memorial Weekend and will extend through Labor Day. I think that it should just be that going forward. And personally, I think that it should be penalties. Something, we're not talking about sending them to jail, but it needs to be something. There needs to be something. And if this works, hopefully they can extend it, maybe. Now, it is controversial, but it has long been on the books. But here's the thing, it's rarely enforced. There has been a curfew, but there hasn't really been any enforcement mechanism, and there's truly not one now. I remember being in middle school and getting suspended from school, leaving early, right? I didn't have a bus ticket because they were usually administered during lunchtime, and I ended up leaving school. Actually, I wasn't suspended this particular time, although I got suspended many times in school. I think I was sick, and I went home early, so I didn't have the bus ticket, so I had to walk home. And maybe from school, I probably lived about 2.5 miles, 2.5 miles. So anyway, walked home, and halfway there, a police officer pulls up and asks me for my early dismissal. Why are you out in the streets? Did your school give you something to say that you're not in school? Which I had my early dismissal, showed it to him, and the officer actually took me home. But the point I'm trying to make is this is a time when there was curfews. This is a time when kids couldn't just walk in a store in the middle of the day when you're supposed to be in school without there being, wait, you're supposed to be in school. We're not going to support your delinquency. Go to school, young man, that kind of thing. But this free for all started, and stores just want money. I don't even think they even care where it's coming from for whatever reason. But we need to go back to the old days in this regard. So I do support this summer enforcement of the curfew. I think that the curfew should always be in effect for young people. Now, so we gotta keep in mind that 2 teens were wounded as hundreds of teenagers gathered at the Inner Harbor Sunday night. And I've seen a lot of wild activity at the Inner Harbor over the years. But the shooting that happened in April, which unfolded while officers were trying to break up a fight at the scene, added to the significant spike in youth violence. Now, this has persisted even as overall shootings and homicides trend downward in the city. But it is still something that has to be constantly looked at, has to be constantly addressed. So according to Mayor Scott's plan, non-law enforcement staff, because they're busy, doing something else, but they're going to approach the children and teens violating the curfew on the weekend and holiday nights. So this is what is being reported in Baltimore. They're going to first encourage the kids to go home, right? That doesn't work. Then the children will be transported to a youth engagement center that provides a supervised environment to hang out. We'll see how that goes. And I think that while I support the curfew, while I absolutely accept the need for the curfew, I think that some of these steps have to be tweaked a bit, but we'll see. Maybe it's going to work out just fine. So I'm not gonna, be a Debbie Downer on it just yet. Now in Detroit, federal prosecutors are expanding efforts to help local police this summer by taking armed carjacking cases and business robberies in high crime areas. So they're really focusing on that, expanding that. So these prosecutors are expanding that. So they really want to help police with regards to these type of cases, even certain gun cases. So you have the feds coming in. So they're really turning up the heat. Okay, federal convictions obviously bring longer sentences. So these in Detroit, these carjackings, these robberies of businesses, these gun cases, the feds in Detroit are going to get involved. So these most dangerous criminals are going to be prosecuted immediately in federal court, according to the U.S. attorney in Detroit. So that is something. In the downtown Detroit area over the weekend, over one weekend in April, Police Chief James White, instituted a crowd control strategy, including increased police presence. Curfews for minors are going to be enforced like we're seeing in other cities. But there was half a dozen shootings in the downtown area of Detroit, one fatal over one weekend in April. I want to make sure that we're clear on that. So it is definitely picking up. Chicago, as there's that pressure. They're definitely approaching Memorial Day weekend, which traditionally we said is a kickoff to the warm weather. Crowds are going to gather, and their potential for crime is there. This intervention work, it definitely takes time for people to see results, but you have to believe in it and you have to go forward with it. And we're definitely going to continue to talk about this. Watch. Hopefully, these cities around the country are successful with their crime prevention strategies.
You're watching OnFire-TV.com, featuring news, interviews, and entertainment. Broadcasting from Radio On Fire Studios in Baltimore, Maryland, here's your host, Diamond K.
Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show on OnFire-TV.com, OnFire-TV.com. And so, we've been talking about this. Just I don't know why some folks are so upset. Why do some folks get so upset about things that they may disagree with, right? Somebody else can let them do what they want to do, right? If it doesn't bother you, it's not something that you're being forced to do. Why do folks get so angry? Not sure why. But if you disagree, and a lot of people say and do things that I disagree with, but I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it. I'm not going to go make threats and I think spend an extraordinary amount of time with negative energy. So at Target, you may have heard, Target pulls this Pride collection brand after threats from domestic terrorists. So there were I know we talked, and this is this is not for everybody, obviously. But recently Target dropped this tuck-friendly swimsuit for trans kids. Right? They dropped that. Okay. So this is it's some kind of clothing that they can hide their biological genitals. So this swimwear, along with other items, has seemingly been pulled from stores following the backlash. Now, I definitely can understand that. You want something like that for your kid, and you maybe order from a website or do something like that, but there's some things that should not be carried in every store. I mean, some things you got to order. All right. And okay. So, whatever. Backlash on this particular thing. I don't think that any kid should have that. But if let's say it's the Dwayne Wade family or somebody who supports this journey and they're all in, that just because you support this journey doesn't mean that everything got to be in the store for every kid. Right. So I get that. I don't have any problem with that. But it has also been revealed that Target pulled items from one of the brands involved in the Pride collection following threats from domestic terrorists. Now, I mean, we're talking about some T-shirts, right? That's too much. I mean, you can have the T-shirts, right? But some stuff might be a bit much for folks, right? So you can have a disagreement. Don't buy it. Don't support the store, right? But why are we threatening folks, right? If you don't like that Target carried this stuff, don't go to Target then. You know what I mean? So this brand that had their items pulled is called Ash and Chess. Ash and Chess. All right, it's a weird name. Anyway, it took to social media to speak about the removal of their items. And obviously they're going into the Pride month. June is a Pride month, and they said that we are saddened to say that the majority of our collection has been removed from Target stores due to threats from domestic terrorists. They continued, emotionally, we do not currently have the bandwidth to comment further on this. So they said that they appreciate your support and love, and queer and trans people exist in the past, present, and future, and we are stronger together. We love you all. The social media post read. So obviously, this is a big time for them. And this company is affected greatly by this. According to the brand, people have been destroying Pride displays at various Target stores in reaction to their items. Despite the items being taken off the shelves, items from Ash and Chess are still available online. You can go to their website, and it's not like you can't get the stuff, right? And maybe this is better. Maybe this is better right now. Maybe this is too much for folks. If you want to get this stuff, it's a free country. You can order it. Now, obviously, it being at Target was helpful to the website, helpful to the company. But I think that you could, make some chicken salad out of this, and support the brand. For the folks that want to support this brand, don't take this removal from Target as the end. Like, you continue to support your folks and support your people, and people that disagree with others' lifestyles. I understand that you disagree. You are entitled to disagree. You are not entitled to threaten people. You are not entitled to destroy property and destroy the displays and all that kind of stuff. That's taking it too far. That's taking it too far. But if you disagree, it's real easy. Just don't do it. Let them do it. Let them live their lives is what I mean. Thank you for tuning in to On Fire TV. We are a 24-hour independent news and entertainment channel. We produce original movies, documentaries, reality-based shows, and podcasts. On Fire TV is made possible because of viewer and listener support. Go to ONFIRE-TV.com to become an On Fire Plus member. Your dollars and your support have kept us going, and we are just getting started. Of course, you can check me out right here on Fire TV, ONFIRE-TV.com, weekdays, 6 p.m. You need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk at gmail.com. On all social media, I am at the Diamond K Show. So the leader of the Oath Keepers, y'all remember the Oath Keepers, right? All right. This was this group that former President Biden told to, stand back and stand by. The Oath Keepers founder, Stuart Rhodes, sentenced to 18 years for a seditious conspiracy in the January 6th attack. I don't know. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. Of course, he is hoping and praying that Trump is reelected so he could get his pardon. Of course, anytime that Trump says something, you got to take it with a grain of, because you just don't know. You just don't know. But this Oath Keeper, Stuart Rhodes, he is I don't know. He's hoping that former president lives up to what he said, because if it's not for Trump, then maybe the Oath Keepers are not there, right? Maybe, I don't know. But he's going to, Stuart Rhodes, that is going to have plenty of time to think about this after being sentenced. So seditious conspiracy, that's a major charge. That is not anything to sneeze at. That is a major charge, and it is warranted. This extremist group, founded by Stuart Rhodes, sentenced to 18 years in prison. He orchestrated a weeks-long plot that ultimately had his followers attacking the U.S. Capitol. Why did they do this? It was an attempt to keep President Joe Biden out of the White House after he defeated Donald Trump in the 2020 election. And you often will hear folks on the right, conservatives, Republicans, you've heard Trump do it. I've heard DeSantis do it, many others. Try to equate the Black Lives Matter, BLM movement, and the Oath Keepers. Try to make like there's some kind of parallel. Black Lives Matter never stormed the Capitol because they would have been shot. They never stormed the Capitol. So they try to draw this parallel between Black Lives Matter folks being upset at the murder of George Floyd. And ironically, we're at the 3-year anniversary. Goodness. Anyway, you have them trying to draw that parallel, that whataboutism. They did this. What about this? It's not the same. It's not the same. Stuart Rhodes, 58 years old. The first person convicted of seditious conspiracy in the January 6, 2021 attack. He received his punishment. His sentence is the longest handed down so far in the hundreds of Capitol rioter cases. It's definitely another milestone for the Justice Department. This investigation, this just January 6th investigation, has been a massive one. Now, it has led to seditious conspiracy convictions against the top leaders of 2 far-right extremist groups. These groups, authorities say, came to Washington prepared to fight, came there prepared to attempt to illegally keep President Donald Trump in power at all costs. Black Lives Matter never did anything like that. The Justice Department, thankfully, is continuing to hold folks accountable, those criminally responsible for the January 6th attack on this democracy. Without Donald Trump, there would never have been an attack. So we can hold folks accountable who are further down. I agree with that. But let's not forget Donald Trump, because he is the reason that they are all there. Do not buy into the lie that Stuart Rhodes or any of these other Trump flunkies are political prisoners. They're not political prisoners. The judge said that, but Rhodes tried to say that he's a political prisoner, and like President Trump, my only crime is opposing those who are destroying our country. Right? He tried to have his moment, right? But the judge fired back that Rhodes was not prosecuted for his political beliefs. There are plenty of people who disagree with whoever. He wasn't arrested and prosecuted because he is a Republican or he voted for Republicans. He wasn't prosecuted for his political beliefs. That's a lie. That's not why. That's not why he was prosecuted. He was prosecuted because he committed offenses. He committed offenses against this democracy. And that's why. And so he has gotten the biggest sentence thus far. I think that there will be more. Earlier today, Jessica Watkins was sentenced to 8.5 years in federal prison in the Oath Keepers case. Now, unlike Stuart Rhodes and Kelly Meggs, she was not convicted of seditious conspiracy. And the judge said that the trans-military veteran had a compelling background. There's just also remorse expressed. My actions and my behaviors that fateful day were wrong, as I now understand. Criminal. Jessica Watkins said, violence is never the answer. The self-proclaimed idiot oath keeper sentenced to 8.5 years. Jessica Watkins, a transgender military veteran, admitted to joining and pushing officers inside the Capitol on January 6th. So, I mean, that's what happens when you commit crimes. That's what happens. Thankfully, Jessica understands that it was criminal activity, understands that, and has expressed remorse. So they're going to look at that particular case different, as they should. As they should. Thank you for tuning in to On Fire TV. We are a 24-hour independent news and entertainment channel. We produce original movies, documentaries, reality-based shows, and podcasts. On Fire TV is made possible because of viewer and listener support. Go to onfire-tv.com to become an On Fire Plus member. Your dollars and your support have kept us going, and we are just getting started. Imagine calling the police. Imagine calling 911 because, obviously you need their help. So you call, and when the police arrive, you, the caller, you are shot when you were the one that called for help. That is the exact story. That is the exact situation that a young man in Indianola, Mississippi had to deal with. This 11-year-old was shot. Adarian Murray, shot in his home after calling 911 for help. The incident happened when Adarian's mother, Nikayla Murray, asked her child to call 911. Now, the father of one of her other children showed up at the home irate around 4 a.m. on Saturday, last Saturday. Now, once the officer, identified as Greg Capers, arrived at the home, Nikayla says Capers had his gun drawn at the front door and asked those inside the home to come outside. So they did that. And, you think that, you're safe. But as Adarian was coming around the corner of the home into the living room, Officer Capers shot the boy, hitting him in the chest. Going for center mass. That's what they're trained to do. Mother said that once he came around the corner, he got shot. I cannot grasp why, she said. The same cop that told him to come out was the cop that shot him. She said that her son kept saying, "Why did he shoot me? What did I do wrong?" Shot this little boy. Thankfully, he is alive. He was transported to the University of Mississippi Medical Center. He was placed on a ventilator and given a chest tube. His mother said that he suffered a collapsed lung, fractured rib, and a lacerated liver because of the shooting. I'm just glad that this young man is alive. Officer Capers was placed on paid administrative leave while the shooting is being investigated. The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation revealed it is currently assessing this critical incident and gathering evidence. Now, it does not take a rocket scientist to tell you how this is going to go. Of course, the officer's not going to be fired. Of course, there's not going to be anything that's going to happen. They're going to say they're sorry. Being a police officer is dangerous. He wants to go home to his family. He was in fear for his life. At least the kid's alive is what they're going to say. And I am happy that the young man is alive. But goodness gracious, trigger happy.
It's the Diamond K Show.
So much going on in the world. You talk about things from the perspective of how it is. DJ Diamond K, sometimes it comes off like you are almost not in support of, but you just accept the way things are and there's no chance of change. Check me out on YouTube. That's the part that I am just like,
ONFIRE-TV.com.
So it seems like there is a never-ending just never ending with these Trump cases. We've talked about many of them. So it's come to our attention that Trump's staff practiced hiding the boxes of classified documents. Yeah. It just never ends with this guy. There were dress rehearsals to hide the classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. I mean, the corruption. Sources indicate that the practice was carried out because Trump did not, of course, no surprise here, Trump did not want to turn over the files. He thinks that they're his files. He thinks that they are his to keep. He did not want to turn over files to Jack Smith, who is the special counsel examining the handling of these documents. They are exploring the possibility of this dress rehearsal where Trump combed through some of the boxes prior to their confiscation. It wasn't until May 2022 that the DOJ released a subpoena. So Trump's then team, because he doesn't have those folks anymore, but Trump's then team, are trying. They're trying to do the best that they can do, right? They're trying to do the best that they could do. But anyway, the Trump's then team moved a few of the files out of storage. So it has just been Trump duping, whether he's duping the attorneys, whether he's trying to dupe the government. Trump and his personnel had actually performed the practice run of moving the files out of the storage area. The files were moved on June the 2nd, stated a witness, and hours later, Trump's legal representatives contacted the Department of Justice to state they were welcome to inspect and recover documents. When the 3 FBI agents and the Department of Justice attorney arrived, they were handed a single envelope, double wrapped and tape, and there were 38 files with category markings, including 5 personal, 16 secret, and 17 top secret documents. The Justice Department, of course, knew that something was wrong, knew that they didn't get everything they were supposed to get back. And by August the 8th of 2022, they subjected the Mar-a-Lago premises to the FBI search that produced over 100 classified documents, along with more than 11,000 other government files. Some of the files are believed to have contained sensitive information about foreign countries, including nuclear capabilities, Iran's missile system, and intelligence gathering on China. I mean, this is never ending. This is a never ending thing with this guy. Unless he is held to account, unless he is held responsible, talking about Donald Trump, I don't know what it's going to say. I don't know what it is going to say. Trump's legal representatives are calling the developments in this investigation an attempt by the elements of politics, people with political interests, to damage Trump, and they're trying to hurt his bid for the presidency. Oh no, you do that just fine by yourself. And so you have this dress rehearsal, you have this moving of the documents, which could potentially be obstruction of justice. Potentially. This is a serious thing, and this someone, Donald Trump, that never takes anything serious. But it appears the staff members practicing, having a dress rehearsal, hiding these classified documents, duping the attorneys, and then the attorneys come, oh yeah, everything's fine. And then the FBI comes, the attorney doesn't know any different. And then the FBI, the Department of Justice comes, and it's crazy, never ending. And you guys want to reelect this? You want to reelect him? .com, ONFIRE-TV.com. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. So, Timbaland talking about R. Kelly. He's been getting some backlash. And, what's ironic about this backlash that he's been getting is that I don't understand why it's happening. I don't. So, yes, R. Kelly is in jail. R. Kelly is in jail for crimes. R. Kelly did some things that he should not have done. R. Kelly was allowed and enabled to commit crimes. No surprise. Folks knew about this. Folks knew about this for years. But it also is a fact that R. Kelly is one of the most talented musicians that we've ever seen. He is the king of R&B. And just because he's arrested and in jail probably for the rest of his life does not mean that he's still not the king of R&B. Who has a better resume of songs? What male artist has a better resume of songs than R. Kelly? if R. Kelly or like we said, Michael Jackson passes away, doesn't mean he's still not the king. His resume is his resume. But Timbaland is getting this backlash after he spoke about R. Kelly, saying that the singer is still the king of R&B, even after his conviction for these sex crimes across several states. He was on Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay podcast. Timbaland spoke about R. Kelly and said that people should separate the crimes from the artist's body of work. Now, I understand that that's hard for some folks to do. I understand that many people have been victims of sex abuse, and they are pushing off these feelings of what they may have gone through or somebody that they love have gone through, and they can't objectively look at the person who committed the crimes against them, and they're looking at anybody else the same way. But yes, R. Kelly is a criminal. He is convicted of horrible acts. But does that mean that he was still not good at his job? Do we just make somebody the king that we just like? Because we like him, so he's the king now. No. The king is the king, and nobody. If there was a versus, R. Kelly would eat up anybody you put next to him. Anybody, right? You can't ignore this man's music. I agree with Timbaland on that. We can't do it. It's his art, right? But he committed crimes, and he's paying for those crimes, and I doubt that he's going to see the light of day anymore. Now, there was a time period immediately following that I wasn't playing his music. I have resumed playing his music. Obviously, we're not playing any new music. We're playing old music. And for the most part, I don't see people acting crazy when the R. Kelly songs come on now. They come on. They still come on. You still at a party to play it. And it is what it is. He's still the king. Now, he may be a scumbag, but he's still the king of R&B. There's no singer that has a better resume. Now, before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about this case. This was a strange case in many regards. So, rapper Flo Rida has agreed to support packages for his disabled son. This child support, this support that he's going to pay, it's nearly $500,000 per year. Now, nearly $500,000 per year. Now, when we first posted this, and the Insider reported this, and when we first posted this information on social media at the Diamond K Show, there was a lot of questions. Many people saying he got that kind of money. Like, how's he going to do that? Right. So this massive child support package is for his only son. There was a hearing in New York City yesterday. So it's a combination of monthly and annual payments. And under this agreement, his ex-girlfriend, Alexis Adams, that's the mother. He has to pay $14,000 per month and $2,212 per month in health insurance for his 6-year-old son, his disabled son. Now, his son was recently injured after a 5-story fall. 5 stories, the young man fell. Now, this is interesting. I haven't seen many cases like this. So he's ordered to pay a setup of $300,000. This is in an escrow account. That's for his son's needs. All right. So that escrow account there, right? Now, the account must be replenished annually, right? So this $300 lump sum is at every year expense. So it has to be replenished annually. And then in addition to that, topping the package is a one-time $188,000 payment that the rapper was told to wire Adams, his son's mother, immediately to compensate her for outstanding expenses. These expenses include school for the young man. So she's got an excellent attorney. Now, Flo Rida is a multimillionaire. All right. Flo Rida is a multimillionaire. I know some of you saying, wait a minute. That song, Low, was a long time ago, right? Right? And you're saying, how does he have this kind of money? Well, I'm going to tell you, and as frequently is the case with many folks, the source of his income is not, the main source is not music. The main source is not music. And so they made this settlement before they went to trial. And if they had gone to trial, he would have lost. He would have lost. So what's happening is that the mother is saying, oh, I had to resort to go to Medicaid after Flo Rida failed to pay health insurance and medical bills following this fall. And that may be true. I don't doubt her on that. Now, the young man, a 6-year-old, was born neurologically disabled. After this fall, he had a shattered pelvis, fractures in his left foot, and internal bleeding, all from this very sad fall. And like I said, it's 5 stories. So since then, the Adams, the son's mother, alleged that the rapper has remained behind in payments, that he stopped paying medical insurance for the son after his March 4th accidental fall from a 5th floor window of their apartment in Jersey City. So, I mean, wow, right? Wow. So anyway, I said that folks have been asking, how can Flo Rida afford to pay that kind of money? Flo Rida's finances are just fine. In January, he was awarded $82.6 million from the energy drink company Celsius, courtesy of a Florida jury. The rapper and his production company, Strong Arm Productions, sued Celsius in May of 2021 for violating the stock option provisions for a 2014 to 2018 endorsement deal. So it did some endorsements. He promoted them. He's supposed to get some stock options. They try to act funny with the money, and he was awarded $82.6 million. So he's got the money, and it appears that he is going to be living up to his responsibilities, taking care of his son. According to the mother, he's only met him once or twice, and hopefully they can have a relationship. I'm hoping that. And obviously there is some bad energy between Flo Rida and his ex. the mother of his child. Hopefully they can get that together. Hopefully they're able to co-parent and raise this young man, because he has a lot of challenges that he's dealing with, and hopefully the two adults in this situation can work together. The ex couple's child has autism, and so that is something that he is dealing with, and also he has a neurological disorder that he's also faced with, and the injuries. So hopefully, it can be difficult, but hopefully these folks can get together and work things out, not being together, but just raise your child. Definitely raise your child. Of course, your man Diamond K. I will be back here on Monday. You need to get in touch with me, djdiamondk@gmail.com. As always, ONFIRE-TV. Here we are a 24/7 digital platform for news, opinion, and conversation. We can't do this without your help, right? Of course, supporters, visit onfire-tv.com. Join our On Fire Plus fan club. Make a one-time donation. Pick up some merch from the store. Everything that we are able to do is because of you. So as I said, support the On Fire Plus fan club. Become a member. You become a member, you get exclusive content and so much more for any business ads, mentions, unboxing, posts, collabos. djdiamondk@gmail.com. I will see you guys on Monday.
Visit OnFireTV.com for live top stories, breaking news, and original shows.